Hi everyone, this is Dwayne Richens, and this is my presentation on PHP objects, their syntax, and their use in web design. They're really useful in web design to be able to dynamically change your pages as information gets updated. I have a car lot example here because we've been doing that in our assignment. So if you get more cars on your lot, if you sell some cars, you don't want them showing up on the website, you don't have to go in and change the HTML every time that information changes. It just changes based on whatever you're querying in the background. So PHP is an object-oriented language, and with that means you work with classes and objects. Classes are just blueprints for objects. So every time I create an instance of a class, that object is referred to as an object. The class is just the blueprint. So I built a class here, or a blueprint here in my document. You can see I've used the keyword class. I've given this class a name, vehicle. This isn't necessarily how we're going to refer to it. It's more of a type name. And then we have an open bracket to show where it starts, and then an ending bracket to show where that blueprint ends. Everything in here just has to do with a vehicle class. So I have three variables for that class: the color, the number of wheels it has, the number of doors it has, and some functions, how to set those colors, how to get them from it, and then one that just renders all that information into a nice little HTML output, which is where the real strength of classes comes from. I also have, with classes, not only can you create classes to work with, but you can inherit from classes. Like I've done here, I've made another class called airplane that extends with this keyword the vehicle class, and then you have the same opening and closing bracket as you had before. So every time I create a new airplane, not only do I get everything that I had up here, I get the additional number of engines variable. I'm building this one with a constructor, and this one is the same as the other one. This one is the same as the render HTML up here, but what it's done is it's overridden it, meaning if I call this as an airplane object, I'm going to get this title airplane info, and I'm going to get the additional amount of engines rather than vehicle info and the lack of an engines one, but we'll see that here in just a second. So what I've done here in my test is I have a pretend input system. So this is like somebody inputting the information on the back end. We've created a variable called coupe. Coupe is equal to a new vehicle, and I've used the set functions within the vehicle class to put information in there. And with that, those are all saved. So we have a red coupe with 4 wheels and 2 doors. I have some code commented out because we're going to see how that changes later on. I've also, just for fun, created a new variable called airliner, which is not just a vehicle, but it is an airplane. So it's actually both types. You can refer to it both ways, and we'll see how that works here in a second. But the way this one is different is I've used a constructor. It is a white airplane. It has 8 doors, 12 wheels, and 4 engines. And so we can see the differences there. This is just a pretend query. I've just basically added all those into an array, which I then loop through, and basically that loop just says for each object that's in that array, call the render HTML function. So the airplane one is going to call this one, the cars are going to call this one. So when I open this document in a browser, you can see that the coupe says vehicle info, the airliner says airplane info, and the airliner has engine amount, whereas the vehicle one does not. Where this is helpful in web design is when, like I said, you want to update the information. We're going to uncomment this code to add a sedan and a van. And we're going to uncomment this one to add a biplane in there. And then we're going to uncomment these to add those into our pretend query. Oops. We'll save that, and we'll see how the page updates. Open that in a browser. We can see that now each car is labeled vehicle info, and I have now 2 airplanes, and this is all the biplane information. This was all the original airliner, and these are all of the vehicles that we added. So I hope that was helpful in explaining how objects work. Like I said, it's best, the easiest thing is it helps you update the HTML dynamically if one of these were to sell, we could take it off and so on and so forth without having to update the pages all the time. Thank you.